just a couple of quick words today. If you haven't been on my channel lately, a couple of things going on there. Victorian High Country, just finished that. Thanks to everyone who put comments on other videos that I only just responded to because I've been away for a while, so yeah, apologise about that. Couple of things about the High Country. You'll see I've got episode 1 out now. Episode 2 is coming. So much happened down at the High Country. Yeah, everything is really steep going up and down. Tracks are unreal. If you ever get the chance to do the High Country, it is absolutely amazing, and me personally would put the High Country above Cape York trip. It's just unreal. Whilst I was at the High Country, I had a couple of little mishaps, let's just call them that, or aka a crash. Nearly went over the edge of a cliff. That's on episode 2, which is going to be released in the next couple of days. That was a bit epic. And I also crashed and busted my radiator left hand side. I've already had it repaired on the right and hit my front guard, and it just pissed out everywhere. I'll just show you that. So if you can see here, that there and that there was a big ass rock hanging out the side of the hill like a front of a Volkswagen, and I've slid into the ditch on the side of the track and literally just hit this rock. It was covered in grass and it just completely threw me off the bike. I went over the bars. I haven't seen the footage yet. It's somewhere in there, maybe. Anyway, we'll see. That'll be in episode 2 or 3. I can't remember. I actually bought a brand new radiator, but I'm going to leave my old one in that's been repaired twice. It's got a funny feeling, and it's actually going to be stronger in those 2 areas that have been repaired than the new one is, and I'm pretty sure the new one's just going to break, you know, split in the same 2 places. So I'm going to leave the old one in until it gives me any sort of drama, and then I'll switch over to a new one. Other little tip I have for you is because when you put the Raid Garage front tank on and your airbox is then lower when you're doing creek crossings, we've actually put a little piece of foam up in here, and it wraps up around the top. So when you go flying through a creek crossing and the water comes off your wheel and goes straight up in here to where your airbox is, this bit of foam here just stops that water from flying up in there. If you end up going through some deep stuff, which, you know, we did, and that foam worked really, really well. I think also, like, that really heavy dust flying off your wheels that's going straight up in there, it may help just stop a lot of that heavier dust getting up in there and filtering that through. And all it is a piece of backing rod, open cell foam backing rod that I use for work. Other thing I wanted to talk to you about was I asked for one size down on my Sprocket before I left when I sent it in to get some stuff done, and somehow these the 701 Enduro comes out with a 15 tooth on the front, and from what I'm gathering, the Supermoto comes out with a 16. Somehow or other, I ended up with a 16 tooth front, not a 14. So I rode the whole country on the 16 tooth front, and how do I put it? It sucked. It was horrible. I had to slip my clutch everywhere. Hill climbs, you know, first gear was too high. Second gear was horrible because it was too low. The gearing was horrible. And when I got back to Pete's farm, you'll notice in the last episode when I get there that we actually ordered and changed back to a 14 tooth sprocket. So this one here, take him off. So as you can see, somewhere around here, anyway, there it is. 14. So, let's have a quick chat about that. 14-tooth sprocket. I went out and Phil and I did a bit of testing with a 14-tooth front sprocket over the 16. And he was running a 15, I was running the 16, and now we're both running 14s. Oh my God, the bike is completely different. It's a whole different bike. It is absolutely amazing. To go from a 16 to a 14 is crazy. The bike doesn't chug anymore down the bottom when you're in, a bit low in a gear, and it's not chugging. It's just so smooth, and it just takes off. So much more responsive, as you would imagine, because it's got more torque, because we've got a smaller front sprocket. The bike, it's like it's gone into angry mode. It'll wheel stand really easy now. It's a much more responsive on the single tracks and twin tracks, and all in all is just so much better to ride. Downfall. 100 k's an hour on the highway is 5,000 RPM. Little bit high for my liking at 100. So maybe the good all-rounders a 15-tooth front sprocket from, standard. Maybe that is the right gearing. But if you're doing mostly off-road, 14, definitely. Definitely put a 14-tooth sprocket. And if you're doing the high country, 14-tooth sprocket. And I think even if I did Cape York, I'd do 14-tooth sprocket, because the Creb track and Frenchman's and all that sort of stuff, you're still full off-road, up hills, single tracks, twin tracks, it's still hard going. Still a 14-tooth sprocket for me all the way. Absolutely. Here's the other thing that annoyed me somewhat. My counterbalance shaft seal pissed out oil on the second last day. I just rode with it. Didn't lose that much, to be honest. Maybe 50 mil of oil, which looked a lot at the time because it was dripping. Now, I rang the KTM dealer down there and said I need a new counterbalance shaft seal. So they just sold me a counterbalance shaft seal. There is, if you have a look down here, this little metal ring. Obviously goes on the counterbalance shaft. If you can see here, it's a little bit worn and it has a groove in it. So that groove, I reckon, it started leaking almost straight away, and I've had to change it again. But I ring my local dealer here and say, I need a new counterbalance shaft seal because I just put a new one in it and it's leaking. What do you think? Oh, lo and behold, there is a updated kit to put in it. Yeah, what the? Why did the KTM dealer down in Victoria not tell me this and sell me the whole kit, which has an updated ring, seal, and all the rest of it, which, I'll put a photo of just here, somewhere on the screen. But that's annoying, because now I've got to go and, pull the whole thing apart and replace it again with a whole kit, which costs another $90. Well, obviously I only paid for a seal the first time, but now I'm going to put a kit in it just to stop the leak. But that's just a pain in the ass. Again, information that, I should have been told at the time. The kit comes with, a new O-ring as well, which goes all the way in there. Alright, new front sprocket is 14 tooths back on again. The new seal's on, the new kit's on. There it is there. Got that top folded down nicely. Now let's hope for buggery that does not leak again. If it does, I'll let you know. Interested to know what front sprocket are you running and why, or have you changed the rear? Intrigued, so leave a comment if so wish and let us know what gearing are you running. Alright, what else did I want to talk to you? Oh, tyres. So I don't know if I told you guys before, but we ran the these are a Starcross 6. There was a couple of threads about the Starcross 6. The pattern's a little bit different, but the sidewall is a lot stiffer than the 5. Now I notice when I have the 5 on there and I'm hitting rocks, I've got 22 PSI in the front and I'm hitting rocks as I'm riding along and it's like bashing into the rims. They're really soft. Heaps of grip, great tyre, but the 6 was so much better on the rocky hard stuff. When you're hitting rocks and bashing into things, you felt like the tyre was taking more of the hit and the rim wasn't getting hammered. So yeah, if you want to run a 5, yeah, they're softer. The 6 is just a bit harder in the sidewalls, harder tyre, and I thought was better for that hard country, rocky country. So if you're going to do crumbit tops or you're going to go and do high country or rocky country, better. Rear tyre, I know Shane did a bit of thing on rear tyre with the Desert HT. So let me show you. This is done about 2,000 Ks, and I was not taking it easy with gear on, and there's still a fair bit of tread left. If I was running a 606, that would be shredded right now and about dead. Big difference between this and the 606 that I normally run is the sidewall on this is a lot stronger than the 606. When I ride rocky country with the 606, I normally do cuts in the side, and this one has just handled all that really well. So all in all, it's definitely a stronger tyre than the 606. Rubber compound's a bit harder. Now, the downfall is on the bitumen, the Dunlop 606 is a lot quieter. This thing's noisy on the bitumen. I wouldn't say it's much grippier on the off-road than the 606. I don't find them a lot different. Rideability, except for the noise, and obviously I just got some confidence that this thing's not going to get shredded like the 606. But yeah, wet bitumen, they're meant to be slippery. I rode on a bit of wet bitumen, didn't really have a problem, but you know, I had a bit of weight on too. So that's my quick take on the tyres. Quick update on the Lynx fairing. Yeah, this thing took a bit of a hit when I came off. Just here. Nothing broke. Couple of scratches. The thing's pretty tough. I thought it was going to be broken when I got up, and it wasn't. So I was very surprised. It was good. Happy about that. So Lynx fairing, thumbs up. Love it. Really good. Good vision around the front, and you can still, you know, get a lot of space in there for your GPS and everything. We'll see there. So you can see this a lot better because it's up here, not all the way down here. So that was good because the vision on that was a lot better. Not much cluttered. Good charge port, and your GPS can sit up there. So you've got a lot more room to do what you want to do. The bash plates. Big thanks to everyone who went out there and purchased an AXP plastic bash plate, because there is nil stock everywhere in the country. Now, I want one because the B&B bash plate, tough as nails, awesome bash plate, but for videoing, it's a bit noisy and makes the engine sound like a bucket of bolts bouncing around, and it's just not really good for filming and the audio. So I'm going to sell this one, and I'm going to purchase an AXP when everybody else has finished buying them and I can actually get one. That'd be great. That's pretty much everything so far. We've got a ride next week to Crow's Nest, so might do a bit of videoing there, might get that one. But for most part, I've got to spend hours and hours and hours editing the high country still, so I can get them out to you. So stay tuned for the high country. And that's it for today, and we'll hope to see you on the trails.